Your name is Nancy Meek. I gather it is no coincidence that the name of your book is "And the Meek Shall Inherit."
That is correct. And coming up with the title was a no-brainer. It was everything else that took work.
Now tell us briefly what the story is about.
The story is about my father, who was a two-time mayor and attorney, and how during his elderly years attorneys at the Bank of Hawaii, our stepmother and others conspired to steal away his trust.
A trust worth more than $4 million.
Yes. What happened was our dad, an attorney, had named myself as the trustee in his original trust, and while he was terminal and in hospice care, our stepmother and her attorney in California drew up documents, had him sign the documents while he was incoherent, and later presented the documents to the court as being valid.
Wow.
Yeah, wow is right.
I read the book and I have to say, it is disturbing to think that all of these people could conspire to do the things they did. How long was your stepmother married to your father?
They were married for 11 years, but during the last few years they were not getting along, and my father had told myself and others he was planning on divorcing her, but then he became Illinois. He was too sick to do anything, let alone get a divorce.
She didn't call you when your dad became ill?
Elizabeth didn't call anyone in our family. None of my father's brothers or any of his friends. Not even his granddaughter, my daughter. Sad, huh?
It really is.
Well, David, what is sad and scary is that the people involved have done this to others, and that is what inspired me to write the book.
And early on, right after your father passed away, the attorney in California was involved with putting together a business venture involving an Indian casino. Is that correct?
Yes. Our stepmother's attorney and 3 other partners were involved with an Indian casino venture in Central California called PG Hote, and the buy into the casino was the exact amount of one of my father's stocks, $646,000. Since the attorney was the one who drew up another fraudulent document to cash out the stocks, wasn't hard to figure out what was going on. This is why the FBI became involved.
You were an actress for many years in Hollywood, is that correct?
Yes, I was. Mostly bit parts in television and motion pictures. And the last few years I switched gears and began working as a private investigator.
Amazing, and that of course came in handy with your father's situation.
You could say that, yes.
When you say they have done this to others, is this documented?
Yeah, it is. And with each passing year, more and more people have come forward with stories that would make your head spin.
Well, I read the book and it is alarming, to say the least. Any plans for a movie?
Oh yeah. HBO and another motion picture production company is interested in a theatrical production.
What is the status of the litigation now?
Well, we have appealed the decision of the judge in Hawaii, so we are waiting on that. You have to understand there is only one probate judge on the bench in the entire state of Hawaii, and we suspect he has his own motives for ruling against us.
Such as?
Let's just say myself and several others are of the opinion there is a good old boy network in Hawaii, and you wax my surfboard, then I will wax yours.
This is the same judge who during an evidentiary hearing would not allow you to submit the forensics and all the evidence which proved your father was incoherent and that documents had been forged.
That's correct. We have a First Amendment that was signed twice supposedly, and one of the times the signatures were a fraud. Our own stepmother on the witness stand admitted the signatures were not hers, and still the judge denied our motion to have the amendment removed.
You also have some cards that show she was imitating your father's signature, is that correct?
Oh yeah. We have a card written in our father's handwriting she sent to my brother after my dad died. In fact, when my brother got the card, he saw the handwriting and said, "Holy crap. Dad is writing me from the grave."
Now, when did you become aware something was not right?
Early on. When our father was in and out of the hospital and terminal, our stepmother did not contact anyone in our family. And it wasn't until he was in a coma that we learned he was as sick as he was.
Wow.
And about 8 months after he died, we received a letter from her attorney to not contact her and have everything go through him. Which I might add is the same act he pulled on another family. So that was definitely a warning. And the other thing was he was trying to sell off all of our dad's properties without telling us.
Now you were close with your father, is that correct?
Yes, we were very close. My dad was the original single dad and raised me. We were close, and I think once our stepmother learned he had named me as the trustee, it didn't sit well with her.
This happens a lot, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. What it is, Dave, is that once someone is gone, people don't hesitate to act on their greed. The person they are harming is dead, so it is an easy con.
In your frustration you turned to the internet, didn't you?
I did. I created YouTube videos, websites, anything to find out the truth because the people involved were not telling us anything.
And the response was?
The response was amazing. I heard from people all over the world who were going through similar situations, as well as people in Micronesia, which is where our stepmother is from, who provided me with clues as to what was really happening. Her daughter Lola would not return our phone calls, and the changes to our father's trust also gave her a hefty sum. And our father did not have a good relationship with her.
Your stepmother's daughter lives in Micronesia, and her father was a senator who had a savings and loan in Micronesia that went into receivership.
Yeah. Senator Johnny Reklai. He died mysteriously. An experienced fisherman, and he drowned in Micronesia. And Elizabeth's sister Cades did the same thing to her husband in the 90s, Senator Caleb Dewey. Same thing. Cades' husband was isolated from his family, and after he died the kids learned she had him sign documents giving the stepmother everything.
And this was Elizabeth's sister? And she did the same thing to her husband 20 years ago. Did any of the people involved ever try and have your internet postings and videos removed?
They tried to intimidate me, but the thing about posting on the internet is we have freedom of speech. Our First Amendment rights, and unless something is grossly false, hey, it stays on the internet.
You met with your father in California a year before he died, and he handed you his 1996 trust, which named you the trustee.
Yes, that is correct. And when this forged and fraudulent amendment showed up, I knew something was not right. Face it, when your father hands you something for safekeeping and 2 years later after he is dead another document appears naming the woman he was planning on divorcing. Bells and whistles go off.
The attorney in California knew how much your father was worth?
Oh, definitely. So far we put the pencil to paper, and the attorneys and the Bank of Hawaii have walked away with over $200,000 from the trust.
And you and your brother walked away with nothing?
Nothing. And really it isn't just about the money. What it is about is people in the probate litigation industry, the banks, lawyers, etc., who profit from what is estimated should be an industry worth billions.
And no matter how much you tell people to be careful with their estate planning,
it doesn't matter, because my father was an attorney and he did have his affairs in order. So if something like this could happen to him, I am of the opinion it could happen to anyone.
You had an attorney?
I did. I had an attorney in California. Then when our stepmother's attorney in California motioned to have the case moved to Hawaii, of course we objected, but the judge in California granted their motion. Then I had to retain an attorney in Hawaii.
And he backed out because of a conflict of interest 8 months into the litigation, because it was revealed your stepmother's attorney was a partner with his firm.
Yes, one of their partners handled our stepmother's immigration proceedings a year earlier. You would think they would have noticed that, right? And the next attorney I hired in Hawaii, Richard Deal, backed out on his own and didn't give us a reason. Although we pretty much think it is because he wouldn't challenge the forged document in his relationship with the Bank of Hawaii, and who knows. But he backed out. And all these attorneys were handsomely paid by me.
Plus your stepmother was paying her attorneys in Hawaii, correct?
Yeah, she also paid the attorneys for the Bank of Hawaii, who ended up removing themselves as co-trustee. What a mess.
So you spent the last 3 years acting as your own attorney?
Yeah. I was tapped out. I didn't have a choice. No one in Hawaii wants to go up against the Bank of Hawaii. Scary, huh?
This really is scary stuff.
And the irony is, my whole life my father wanted me to become an attorney. He used to say, if you are going to act, then do it in the courtroom. And look what happened.
I don't doubt he was, and if he were here right now he would certainly be proud of you.
Thank you. It is. And honestly, it is what motivated me to write the book.
Before I forget, you wrote a letter that was recently read on the Senate floor by Senator Feinstein.
I most certainly did. Very proud of that. There is a bill in Congress which would encourage stricter guidelines for people to have to go through background checks before embarking on the construction of casinos on Indian land. Keep the bad guys out.
All of your efforts haven't been wasted.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for writing this book and sharing this with us. The book is called And the Meek Shall Inherit, and I highly recommend this book. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.